So I have a theory that the Democratic Party is run by white liberal socialist elites. But this isn't really a theory, it's actually the fact of the matter. White liberals do make up a majority of the policy-making process, politicking within the Democratic Party. It's also a fact that white liberals do not represent the minority liberal public, policy and political opinion. When it comes to certain political issues, Black liberals, Asian liberals, and Hispanic liberals differ from white liberals, specifically on things like immigration policy, this idea that children should be allowed to undergo chemical castration basically in order to transition. That is something that minority liberals by and large don't agree with. And when minority liberals disagree with white liberals on these political issues, their racial identity is called into question. You guys remember when President Biden said to Charlemagne the God, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black? Well, that is what I'm talking about. When white liberals speak to minorities, they tend to dumb themselves down in terms of their speech. And this is also seen, with Kamala Harris speaking to the Black community. She started speaking AAE. This happens very often. But the reverse happens when Black liberals, Asian liberals, Hispanic liberals begin to disagree politically with white liberals. Then suddenly white liberals pull rank and they act as if they have an intellectual and political authority because in their minds, they honestly believe that they do. And I really need you guys to look into the research that's been done on this phenomenon. White liberals and minority liberals want different things, and that is the fact. Even though white liberals and minority liberals differ on many things, white liberals still seem to somehow have a control over minority liberal vote. This is because they use tactics like moral suasion and race baiting, making broad, sweeping claims that the moderate and right political parties are racist. And if you are a minority and you vote for them or you agree with anything that they say, then you are not Black, you are not Asian, you are not Hispanic, race baiting and moral suasion, guilting you into acquiescing to their political stance. And what is also sickening about that is that they also think, not only do they think in their mind that they have the authority to talk at you what your political opinion should be as a minority liberal, they also think that they have the authority to set the parameter for your racial identity based on whether or not you agree with them. White liberals unconsciously reinforce stereotypes when they talk. They dumb themselves down when they're speaking to minorities, and they also reinforce racial hierarchy when they think they have an advantage or some sort of political authority on what you should think politically and socially as a minority. So back to my main point, my theory that the Democratic Party is run by white liberal elites who are socialists, who are communists, and they have one goal in mind, and that is deconstructing the West and breaking down our society as we know it. And they use minority liberals to do it. Without minority liberals, they would have no platform for their agenda to work. White liberals will often promise minorities, especially Black Americans, a lot of things in order to get their candidates into office. And then once they are in office, they don't deliver. That is because they could care less about your issues. It is not about your issues. It is not actually about helping minority communities and bettering minority communities. They have one goal in mind, and that is deconstructing American society as we know it. White liberal elites are communists in hiding, and they use minorities to push their agenda. Without minority liberals, they would have no platform. So how do you keep minority liberals in mind? By putting it into their head, propaganda, putting it into their head that anybody outside of the Democratic Party opposes their very being. So telling Black liberals that moderates and conservatives are racist and they hate you and you should not agree with them on anything, that is just not true. Black Americans are more conservative than they're willing to admit. If you were to go around Black American communities, Asian American communities, and Hispanic American communities in this country and ask them if they agreed on some of the most liberal, white liberal policies, I'm telling you, by and large, you would get no. White liberals are fighting a different fight from minority liberals. They have different priorities. They want the installation of communism in this country, and they use minority communities and minority liberals as a front to install that under the guise of social justice. Please wise up to what is really happening. The only way that minority liberals are going to fight back against white liberals, who again run a lot of the Democratic Party, a lot of the policy making and politicking within the Democratic Party. They kind of control that by and large. The only way that minority liberals are going to do something about it is by holding your vote hostage, especially Black Americans. Black Americans almost always give their vote to the Democratic Party unequivocally and without contest and without skepticism of what their actual policy is and what they intend to do for your communities. If you want to find out who these people really are, these white liberal elites who continue to drill into the mind of minority Americans that they are oppressed and that they are victims in order to garner your cooperation to help them install their agenda into this country. If you want to find out who they really are, hold your vote hostage. In the next presidential election, hold your vote hostage and watch how they come out of the woodwork with what they really think. How they don't think that you are capable of thinking for yourself, deciding your own political views and political stance, and that at the moment that you as a minority liberal show any sort of dissent from white liberal political ideology, they will claim racism, race traitor, race baiting, and moral suasion, almost bullying you into acquiescing to their political ideologies. You're fighting for the wrong team is what I'm saying. These people are not for social justice reform. As soon as they get the power that they need, they will not care about your issues. That is how these types of communist parties work. Once they're installed, the people who they use to help them install their political system, they discard you. Mark my words, that is what is going to happen when these guys get what they want. Nothing in your communities are going to change. Your voice will not be heard. You will be ignored because you're not actually in control. Please look at who's really in control of the Democratic Party. It's white elites. White elites who are fighting a fight that minority liberals are not fighting. You're being bamboozled. You're being hoodwinked. Get smart, wise up, open your eyes, hold your vote hostage until this party actually delivers on what they say they're going to do in your communities. Otherwise, consider offering your vote to other parties who will actually do things in your community and solve issues within your communities. White liberal elites are communists in disguise. Their agenda is to destroy America and the West as we know it, and they're using minority liberals to do it. They morally sway you, moral persuasion. They race bait you, and they racially bully you into guilt, into acquiescing to their political ideology. Wise up, get smart. You're not on the good guys team, believe it or not. When you really start to look beneath the surface, you are going to find that out. These guys are wolves in sheep's clothing. This is going to age well, I promise you, mark my words when you find that out. And that is my humble little theory about who these white liberal elites truly are. Before I let you all go, I just wanted to take the opportunity to share with you this passion project of mine that I've been working on now for a couple of months. It is a clothing boutique, the Modest Bombshell brand. I created this boutique for Christian women specifically who want to be both modest but find a hard time buying clothing that is modest but is still stylish and glamorous and beautiful. A lot of the clothing out there that is made for women who want to be modest is frumpy and homey, and I just kind of wanted to undo that a little bit and provide something for women who want to be stylish and modest. So visit themodestbombshell.com and grab yourself something nice.